So, welcome, everyone, to another edition of Speak On It. Um, I got the wheels to this vehicle today as the host. So here I am, Taman, and we have the tremendously witty and educated and smart and talented Mr. Dom, Dami Lama, as we call him. We missing Biv tonight. He's got the night off as he's tending to grown man issues, I should say. So, nevertheless, um, how's your week been, Dom?
Week's been good, man. It's been a long week.
Mm-hmm.
It's good though. Like I said, newborn life, 3 kid life. It's great. Now listen, that is the biggest difference.
Oh,
That's
really?
3 kid life now. Yeah, 3 kid life is the biggest difference. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's been a good week, man. Blessed. Um, Excited to be on the night, be on the night. But other than that, man, it's been good, man. Been great.
Yeah, man. Just working night and day.
Same.
Just trying to progress every day. Just in each and every area. But tonight is the wrap up. So let's get going. Where do you want to start off first?
We can start off with what's recent. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Debo.
Debo. Wow, you went straight to that. Okay, so
It's recent.
that wasn't in the notes. So what's going on with Debo? You might have me listen.
He just
What's
signed.
happening?
He just signed his extension.
That is news to me. That's an hour ago.
Yeah.
Yes, 3 years, $73.5 million deal. That is genuine excitement on the part of me. Talking about me in third person. But I'm excited. I'm definitely excited, man. I'm not going to be jumping up and down, but definitely this is the first time of me seeing that. Thank you, Don, for letting me know that. I'm ready to rock and roll now.
All right, so let me ask you this question. Then we can stick on notes because I'm gonna ask you a couple things off notes. But
Okay.
let me ask you this: is he worth the extension? You as a 49ers fan, if he's not utilized out of the backfield, like as a pure wide receiver, as a pure wide receiver,
Yes.
do you think he can be a top flight, just pure wide receiver?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Well, think so. I mean, like the fact that he did what he did in the backfield, utilized him in all types of phases, but it just lets you know that whenever he has the ball in his hands, it's electric. You know what I mean? Regardless of whether it's a catch, a run out the backfield, end around, he makes plays.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have him utilized just as a wide receiver weapon and have it to where it cuts the slack off of him being in so many plays in the run game, then that means that he can use that energy to be the wide receiver that he is and use his dynamic skills to, take a hitch route to the house. So, I think that Kyle Shanahan, it was limited tools, but I think that for the most part, it'll. I don't think he'll be used as much. I really think that his voice was heard in that. And I'm glad that the parties came together and for three years.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Extended.
I think 73, something like that. 3 years, 73 extension.
Yeah. So for the foreseeable future, Debo Samuel is a 49er.
49er. The reason I asked that question, I'm sorry.
No, you good.
The reason I asked is because you hear a lot of people who have, I guess, who it's two spectrums. I mean, where you say if he's not going to be utilized how he was utilized, if you're going to be as effective, right? So he had 8 or 10 rushing touchdowns, but he only had like 368 rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it wasn't like he was a 1,000-yard rusher.
Right.
He did have 1,500 receiving yards. Like,
mm-hmm.
so what I would say is that for everybody who thinks that he can't be effective as a number one wide receiver, he had 1,500 receiving yards in addition to the 300-400 yards rushing. Like, he's a receiver first.
Yeah.
Like, he plays the position as a wide receiver who actually can just catch out of the backfield. I mean, or run out of the backfield. Like, that's like saying, is Christian McCaffrey as effective if he can't catch the ball out of the backfield? Or if Alvin Kamara, are they as effective if they can't catch the ball out of the backfield? Yeah, they still 1,000-yard rushers.
Right.
It's just that it's just that they can catch also, you know what I mean? So I think Debo was worth every penny of it. I think he's actually going to be better as a wide receiver this year. We'll see, you know what I mean? Because he's not going to be asked to do as much out of the backfield.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So, but
come on, man, you can't agree with me, man. This is a debate show, man.
I know.
But
that's all script. That was all script.
Yeah. So speaking of football.
You say you watch the football?
Yeah, might as well stick to football.
All right.
Start with the big news about Kyler Murray. Let me see if I can do this correctly.
Hey, talking about.
So we got here the independent study addendum between the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. So any of you viewers that's taking a watch. So if we look and see, and we read here, this is the clause that got all the hoopla. Players shall complete at least 4 hours of independent study each week, including each playing session during the term of the contract. Now, but here's the kicker, though. Where is it at? It's in section 3. It says, for the avoidance of doubt, players shall not receive any credit for independent study with respect to any time period during which any material is displayed or played on an iPad or other electronic device. If A, player does not personally study or watch the material while it is being displayed or played, or B, player is engaged in any other activity that may distract his attention, for example, watching television, playing video games, or browsing the internet while such material is being displayed or played.
So, I like you said, it's debate. So, I am torn between the clause. Here's why. Because I think Kyler Murray, I think we talked about it. I think Kyler Murray is borderline top 10 quarterback. Y'all know I've been high on the Cardinals for the past couple of years. Been high on Kyler for the past couple of years. And he's shown up in the first halves. He's balled out in the first half. Second half, he just I think it's just he's been worn down. But
that's what you call it? Okay.
What else would you want to call it? I mean, I don't know. He folds, and I ain't gonna say folds, but he is not as good in the second half as he is in the first half. Maybe that's because film study, man. I don't know. Maybe that's because he don't do film study. Maybe that's why. But I think that the clause, the Arizona Cardinals, for them to publicize that clause, I have a problem with that. For them to say, well, Kyler, you have to study these 4 hours and not play video games. You know what I mean? Or for you to, like, why publicize that about your franchise quarterback, the CEO of your team? Why would you do that? You know what I mean?
I don't think they publicized it. I don't think they wanted it to get out. I think somebody wanted it to get out. I don't think they wanted it to get out.
Somebody put it in, but so to put it in there.
Well, then that lets you know that somebody had to tell somebody that that's a possibility that you may need to put that in there. I mean, because you said it. You've been high on Kyler Murray, right? And I've been real on Kyler Murray, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you think it's because he's Cardinals or whatever. And I really think that he's an above average quarterback. But at the same token, you go 4-8 in December and January, and you haven't won a playoff game, and you don't have an MVP. And you're now getting paid more than Josh Allen.
Well,
the math ain't mathing.
Well, that math don't math to me. Yeah, I mean, so you know, Josh, my guy. So
that's one thing I'm trying to figure out.
But you know,
explain to me how is he worth it?
But you know, it's about who's next up. You know what I mean? Kyler Murray was next up, so they had to pay him. You know what I mean? So it was either pay him or lose him.
That much though?
I mean, if that's what he said, like this is the number that I want, or I'm going to walk. Like you have to pay the quarterback. Like, do you think Dak is a $40 million quarterback? Do you think Derek Carr is a $40 million?
Dak's been to the playoffs.
Do you think Derek Carr is a $40 million quarterback? Like,
but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Kyler Murray.
I know. So I'm just saying.
Okay, we can
next up. So
okay,
the debate is
compare him to Dak.
So if the debate is, do we believe he is a $40 million quarterback? Yeah, I mean, do we think he's that top echelon quarterback? I don't think he is Josh, Pat, Aaron, Tom. I don't think he's those quarterbacks. I don't think he should get paid in the same class as those quarterbacks. He's not a Lamar. But again, it's about is he Deshaun Watson? I mean, I don't think he's Deshaun Watson. So I don't think he's worth the $40 million to be in that class. But it's about who was next up in line, and that's why he got paid. The problem again I have with the clause, and here's another thing is, Kyler, why do they need to put a clause like that in your contract? I mean, like, why do they need to put like certain clauses? You understand? A weight clause. You know what I mean? Or a games clause, bruh. And the clause is so minimal. You got to watch four hours of film a week. They got to say you got to be monitored to watch 4 hours of film a week.
Did you hear his response though?
Yeah, his response was, but it goes to like what a lot of people have been thinking or been saying. Kelvin Beachum, he's on the player side, the Players Association side. Mm-hmm. That was his offensive lineman. He said Kyler Murray not a leader.
Wow.
The offensive lineman say you're not a leader. You can't galvanize the troops. So maybe he's the one that leaked it, but. But to answer the question, is he worth the money? I would say he's worth the money in the sense that he is the Cardinals franchise quarterback, and you had to pay him. But is he worth Aaron Rodgers' money? Is he worth getting paid more than Josh Allen? No.
And to that point, I'm not going to demote anybody's worth, right? Get your money by any means. In this token, I think that, for one, I think that for the Cardinals to put it in the contract, there had to be some discussion as to his film study or his habits in regards to that. Now, it being publicized, now it looks crazy on the franchise because it's like you just gave this man all this money and you thought as though you had to put that in the contract as far as something that's required, and if it's not, then he's in default, which in turn means that you're null and void of the contract. So this is what you got to do. I think that he stuck up the Cardinals. They're in a position to where they don't know where else they're going to go. They do have a very good team, and they need the quarterback in order to proceed. And there's nothing out there in the foreseeable future to go to the levels that they're trying to go to, and they're going to have to take a chance on him. He has the negotiation tactics of being able to say, "Hey, I can go play baseball," and that's huge. You know what I mean? And that's something to where like he can literally just walk away, and we get nothing for him. Let's try to see what he's going to do, and let's give him the money. But this amount of money, I feel as though is crazy, especially since he hasn't won a playoff game as of yet. And you see other quarterbacks that, i.e. Lamar Jackson, that's won an MVP, and he's still on his rookie deal. He's waiting to get up. I don't think Kyler was next up. I think Lamar was next up. You know what I mean? But
and the great thing, I
mean,
think
even Joe Burrow, he just took a team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but Joe not eligible yet, so I get it. But I get it.
But it's like, so this is what you feel as though Kyler Murray is worth.
With Joe Burrow group.
When he comes to the table, like his agent's gotta be looking like, look what this guy got. And this is his contract is based off of potential. And not what have you done.
Right. And the crazy thing is like you said, we said Lamar. Lamar's asking price just went up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It just went up.
If
that's what you paying Kyler Murray, well, one, his asking price went up when Deshaun Watson got paid, and then you paid Lamar on Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
My money's going up. So the Ravens better stop playing. But here's the thing: I want to ask you, and why I say I think the Cardinals look crazy, is because they tore up that contract. They took that clause out.
Yeah. Yep. And then all that for what?
You put it in there,
and that lets you know, like, if it was never leaked, they would have never said nothing. So that was that a ploy for Kyler and his agent? Was it his agent that put it out?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because that's negotiation, like, and then the way that Kyler came off in the press conference was like, that's like borderline disrespectful. But it's like, bro, you signed the contract.
Yep.
So now knowing how contracts work, now you say that's null and void, so now you got to send back another contract, right? Mm-hmm. Saying that this is the updated terms of an addendum or something. So, yeah, you read over the contract, bro, and signed it, and now you bring this out.
And the crazy thing is like you said, was it a ploy, or because again, somebody put it out there that he does not read film. Somebody put it out there, and I don't believe that I don't believe that it's false. It was put in there for a reason. You know what I mean? The only reason that they tore it up, they didn't tear it up because it was false. They tore it up because they was getting backlash. That's why they tore it up. So, I just want to know who leaked that he don't watch film. That's what I want to know. Who leaked it? Because Kingsbury said it wasn't him.
That is, yeah. Either way, he got it thrown out, so he can use those 4 hours to play Madden and study Madden.
You got to listen.
To study coverages.
He said, "You can't take my Madden away."
Yeah, you can't take my Madden away at all.
You can't take my Madden away.
That's how I mean, but we're gonna see, man. The first 3 games of the season, they play all AFC West teams.
Yeah.
And the first 6 games is going to be without DeAndre Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be the biggest test, I feel like, that 6-game run, as far as are you worth the money or not? Especially without the arguably the top wide receiver in the league when he's healthy.
He got his boy.
What you can do with you. Huh?
He got his boy. I don't want to hear no excuses.
Who's his boy?
He got Hollywood. Hollywood was
okay. Yeah.
You wanted to bring Hollywood. You wanted Hollywood to come in. He was your team. He was your teammate in college. He was your roommate. You got your boy. I don't want to hear nothing.
We gon' see.
Hollywood said he wanted to be the number 1 guy. He wanted to leave Lamar to go there to open it up to get paid. No excuses.
None at all. None at all. So
but I believe in you, Kylie. At least for those first 8 games, I believe in you.
So, where we go from here? What's next? We got
I got a question for you. Stay in football.
All right. What's
training camp? What are some of the top storylines you want to see either with your team or with other teams? And if we talking about your team, we got a couple of storylines. I mean, if you want to stay with your team, but what's some of the top storylines you want to see with the starting training camp, football season right around the corner? What's some of the top storylines you want to see in training camp?
I am interested to see how Miami plays out. All the hoopla about what Tyreek Hill said about Tua, his accuracy and whatnot. The firing of Brian Flores. Just that whole franchise and whatnot, what direction they're going to take in that division, especially with a lot of people thinking and saying that the Patriots are going to be down this year and the Jets are, we still don't know what the Jets are. What are the Dolphins going to be with adding Tyreek Hill into the mix and having a healthy Tua? So that's one of the more intriguing storylines that I kind of want to see how that plays out during the preseason if they get in, and how it translates to the regular season.
I'm gonna tell you I would have never thought about that storyline, but when you added in the Brian Flores piece, that is like, wow, I completely forgot about the whole Brian Flores part of it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he did win 9 games last year. Yeah, I mean, and then they brought in Tyreek Hill, and then you talk about Tyreek Hill talking about 2 of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, they got a lot going on in Miami. So yeah, let's see what's up and see how that
I forgot all about that. One of I want to see where Jimmy goes. I think that's going to be super interesting because to me, it's not a lot of teams out there for him. You know what I mean? And
you know what's crazy? I'm sorry.
No, you good.
Go ahead.
No, you good. Go ahead.
I was thinking Jimmy should go to the Cleveland Browns.
That I'm gonna tell you this. I think it'll be. You can't. You gotta wait. You gotta wait and see. Down. The hearing comes out. The hearing is going. We're gonna find out tomorrow. But
if
even still, I wouldn't. You got Jacoby Brissett there, who's gonna be solid because again, I don't think Deshaun Watson gets suspended for a whole year. But you got Jacoby Brissett there, who's gonna be solid. Are you still gonna pay Deshaun Watson and pay Jimmy? Like you got to pay Jimmy $25 million.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think the best spot for him,
Seattle.
But are y'all going to give him to Seattle?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
You know what I mean? But that's the perfect spot for him. They don't have a starting quarterback. That team to me, at least on offense,
Quarterback away.
I ain't gonna say they're a quarterback away, but they solid.
Yeah, they are. They are.
They're gonna run the team. They're gonna run the ball. It's gonna be play action.
DK Metcalf.
Jimmy Garoppolo ain't gonna mess up, and I mean Seattle ain't gonna be in too many big games. So when Jimmy Garoppolo only mess up in big games, he only throw bad throws in big games. So you ain't gotta worry about that. So I think that's the perfect fit for him in Seattle. He got 2 wide receivers. They rebuilding, just like y'all was when y'all grabbed him. I think that's a perfect fit for him, perfect match for him. Other than that, I don't see, and I don't see that. So I think it's interesting. It's an interesting storyline because y'all have already came out and said Trey Young is our guy. We've moved on to Trey Lance.
I was going to say Trey Lance. You said Trey Young.
I mean, yeah, Trey Lance. Like, y'all already said we've moved on to Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
He's QB1. Where, like, if Jimmy has to come back, what does that look like? Where does he fit in? How does that locker room?
It's not. I don't think it's a locker room issue. I don't think it ever will be a locker room issue. If he were to if it's a situation where Trey Lance gets hurt or something, and then Jimmy's starting quarterback, that I think is just keep on going.
Struggle? So that's what I'm saying when I say about the locker room.
I mean, but the goal is to pretty much to make sure, I'm assuming, to not have Jimmy on the books come week 1.
Yeah, but what if y'all can't trade him? Do you just cut him? Do you just cut him if y'all don't trade him?
That's a lot of money paying to a backup.
I get it, but why not? Then, at that point, why not just trade him to Seattle?
Then we're in a desperate situation, and then to me, like, what are you getting back? It has to be something substantial in return in order to trade him in the division.
Not really, because if you cut him, he just go there for free. Because listen,
they're gonna be like, yo, 7th round pick. No,
yeah, I'm like, bro, I'm good. I'm like, all right. I was going to cut him anyway. I was going to cut him.
I don't know, man. I think I'm trying to think of some other spots for him other than Seattle, man.
There's no other spot.
And no knock to Jacoby Brissett, but
Cleveland would be great
if things work out to where Watson is suspended for the year. I think that Cleveland would be the best spot. And the only reason why I say Cleveland is because I really think that they are a team that's ready to go with the running backs, Amari Cooper on deck, and their defense was pretty solid. I definitely think this team is a quarterback away, and I think that's why they jumped out to get him. But I really think that Jimmy is an upgrade from Baker, which in turn, if you're able to do that, then we got a nice team that can make a playoff run.
They built like San Fran. Cleveland built like San Fran. Here's why Cleveland can't do it. Because we're thinking about Jimmy. Jimmy is a great serviceable quarterback. Here's why Cleveland can't do it. What if Jimmy leads them to a Super Bowl? Now what do you do?
Like, Jimmy just going around the league messing everything up, right?
Like, we just paid Deshaun Watson. He got suspended. We grabbed Jimmy Garoppolo. He just took it to the Super Bowl. We know people are already side-eyeing Deshaun Watson, side-eyeing the contract.
Wow, that would be very interesting.
That's why I think Jimmy, this offseason, that storyline is crazy. I think if y'all did not give up what y'all gave up for Trey Lance, Jimmy probably still maybe Trey's there, but I think Jimmy would probably be in training camp. Y'all wouldn't be so readily. Y'all wouldn't be so quick to just give Trey the job.
Right. I get that.
But because y'all gave up so much, y'all like, bro, you got to play.
Yeah. You have to keep
play. And that's why y'all can't justify having the $25 million backup. Because if you got a $25 million backup, bro, you got to play.
Yeah. All right. So I done did something. Uh-oh.
It's all good. I can still hear you.
Oh, man.
We good.
Well, my producer skills is off. All right. So let's get here to the Big 12 preview. Did I transition too hard? Maybe I turned pause.
No, we good.
So we got the Big 12 conference, which the Big 12 got 10 teams. So the Big 12 list got 10 teams. Got Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Texas Tech, Texas, TCU, and Oklahoma State. Now, if you were under a rock last year, you would know or not know that Baylor won the Big 12 last year, surprisingly. And they had some people picked up in the draft. So, do you think that Baylor is going to repeat as champions in the Big 12?
I do not. I'm looking at the conference now. I think Oklahoma State going to be solid. Nope. I don't think Baylor. I don't think Baylor repeats. I don't think Baylor repeats as the conference champion. I want Texas, but but no, I don't think Baylor repeats.
So, what do you think? So, okay.
I'm just pulling up. I just got Baylor's schedule. I just pulled up Baylor's schedule.
So I think that Baylor was a surprise last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that their defense is the heart of that team right now.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Ika and player on that defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll probably be drafted. They bring a majority of the starters back on defense. So I really think that they'll have a good year. I don't think that they'll be champions, but I think they'll go like 8-4, 9-3.
Yeah, and they lost. I think they lost a corner, in Barnes. They lost the wide receiver, Tyquan to the Patriots. So they lost some juice on offense. I just don't. They lost JT Woods. They lost the other starting safety. Forget his name. So they lost a couple players. That's why I don't think Baylor repeats, because they lost. Like you said, their heart and soul was their defense,
Mm-hmm.
and they lost like 2/3 of their starting defense. I mean, their starting secondary. So I don't see them repeating.
Now, what's your thoughts on Oklahoma State? Now, Oklahoma State, they were 11-2 last year.
Mm-hmm.
I know they were surprised as well. They still have their starting quarterback. And their non-conference schedule was pretty easy, but I know that their defense, I think, lost some starters. They crept up on some teams last year. What's your thoughts on Oklahoma State?
I think one thing that you know about Oklahoma State is that they're going to play good defense. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play good defense, no matter who is in their quarterback or running back. They didn't have Cuba Hubbard last year. They still was a solid good running team. They lost Tylan Wallace, still was solid on run the ball. So I think that they're going to be solid because that's just what they're built on. They're built on run the ball and playing good defense. They always have a great defense. So that's why I think Oklahoma State is going to be solid next year, because they always have a great defense.
I think they'll be bowl eligible, but I think they'll be in. I think 7-5. I think there's a drop off.
You think they're gonna be 7-5?
Mm-hmm.
They went 12-2 last year.
Yeah.
Jeez. And Baylor finished the season on a 5-game win streak.
Yeah. The Big 12 though is it could be like on some worst to first.
Yeah.
But even not from the worst first, like maybe like the middle of the pack to the first. It's definitely a lot of parity in the Big 12 with the teams that they have and the non-conference schedules that they have as well. So, yeah, I just think that it's a couple games that I feel like can go either way. And I think that they might lose a couple.
So, yeah. I don't want to
jump ahead. Going to a bowl.
I said I don't want to jump ahead, so I like Oklahoma State. I do like Oklahoma State. I just don't. I think they will be bowl eligible. I think they'll be solid because they do run the ball. They play defense, but I don't think that I don't think they're going to be anything special.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't think Baylor going to be anything special.
Now I don't have anything for TCU, for Iowa State, for Kansas. Just FYI.
Kansas probably got the best little running back in the nation.
He said the best little running back.
And even if I say they probably got the best, they got a top 5 running back in the nation.
Okay.
I'll say that. Not Kansas State.
Okay, Kansas State.
Yeah.
Kansas State is a little sneaky, especially since Martinez is coming over from Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sneaky pick.
Not
to win at all, but to be a very solid team. What's your thoughts on Texas?
I think Texas can be solid. Texas has the best running back in the nation. If they'll go as far as Bijan goes, as far as Bijan Robinson goes, if Bijan Robinson is a Heisman candidate, Texas is going to win. Texas is going to win the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
If he's just solid like he was last year, they're going to be a middle pack team.
I think it's. I would agree to an extent. I still feel like the addition of what's his name, Ewers, the quarterback from Oklahoma State, not Oklahoma, Lord, Ohio State.
Quinn Ewers.
That team in Ohio. I think that if they have a good run with him, it makes it very interesting. With Arch Manning, him signing, because I mean he's a freshman, he's a top quarterback rated coming out. So if he were to actually lead this team to a Big 12 championship and have a nice run, and with Texas going over to the SEC, correct?
Yep, SEC.
In a few years, then that I think. It'll give something to think about as far as quarterback competition down the line with those two. I think Texas is going to have a solid year though.
I think soon as Arch steps on, because he's still a senior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Soon as he steps on Texas campus,
that's his job.
He stays the starting quarterback from day one.
That's his job.
His job. As soon as he steps on the field, he's the quarterback from day one. How can you not play Eli Manning and Peyton Manning nephew? Eli Manning, Peyton Manning nephew.
It just got Texas to the college playoff.
It's Eli. Listen, the storylines on ESPN, on Fox Sports, whatever on speak on it is going to be Arch Manning sitting behind.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably the most touted freshman quarterback since Andrew Luck. Maybe Tua. Maybe a quarterback for the freaking Jaguars now.
Trevor Lawrence.
And Trevor Lawrence started. Trevor Lawrence didn't start from day one, but I think Andrew Luck, Archman, didn't start from day one, bruh. People gonna say stuff. People gonna talk. So yeah, I think that they can. I think Texas has an opportunity to win the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
I mean the Big 12. But yeah, I think it's going to be built on Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I think Texas got a good shot. But I still think it's going to come down to that Texas-Oklahoma game as far as who's actually going to win. And you might see a rematch, in my opinion. I really think it's between Oklahoma, Texas, and Baylor as the top three, with possibly Oklahoma State reaching up there. But I got Oklahoma winning it. I still think that even with the transition of leaving, not the water down, having the transfer of Gabriel from UCF is going to be huge for them. And they're favored in pretty much all of their games, even with dealing with Lincoln Riley leaving. So I still think Oklahoma, I'm not going to say they're running the table, but I do think that they're going to win. They're going to be at least at top the standings. Now, the one-game championship, anything could happen. But I see Oklahoma coming out as champions.
I agree. One, they got Brett Venables as their coach. He comes from he come from a Clemson tree.
Mm-hmm.
They play solid defense, and one thing that most people, almost anybody, would tell you about Oklahoma or Big 12 football, they don't play defense.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
He comes in from the ACC, where they play defense. Clemson plays defense. I think he's going to establish a defensive culture. Like you said, they got Dylan Gabriel, who just came over. They still got Marvin Mims, who there. I think they're going to be solid. I think that offense, I'm not going to say the offense doesn't miss a beat, because Lincoln Riley is an offensive guru. But I think the offense is still going to be good. And I think they're going to add an added dimension on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that they win that conference, because I just don't think that Bijan Robinson, just him alone, can carry Texas to a Big 12 title. So I think Oklahoma wins that division, wins the Big 12 as well.
So we agree that Oklahoma is going to win the Big 12 with 10 teams.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can get some. It's going to be dwindling down here soon.
Like I say, it'll be like 8 teams.
And it's called the Big 12. So, Commissioner of the Big 12 need to step on it as far as what's going to happen in the future. So, next up, we're going to talk NBA. We're going to talk NBA. So we definitely want to give a shout out to, not a shout out, but condolences and prayers go out to Bill Russell, to his family. Rest in peace, as he passed away today. I'm trying to get up this picture here. If I can, well, this be a lot of work sometimes. I think I was doing too much. Just had a lot of ideas.
Nah, you wasn't doing too much.
Definitely we want to share that picture of Bill Russell. If you don't know him, just we're going to take a quick 10-second minute of silence for Bill Russell. One of the greatest. One of the greatest.
Yes, sir.
One of the greatest. So, with that being said, you did have a question with the legacy of Bill Russell coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, what was your question?
So, I asked, with his passing, who is the top 5 centers of all time, winning the centers? Oh, top 5 greatest centers of all time. Who's your Mount Rushmore? +1.
Now, before you even interject in here, I think I'm doing too much, but I'm rolling with it.
Listen, it's good. It's good. We still working out all the kinks, yo. But listen,
yeah, we really are.
We upgrading. We doing a lot of stuff.
Nope, that's the wrong. So that's the wrong slide. Here we go. So I found one for you to look at, ponder, see if you like, dislike. What do you think of this list here?
Here's the list. I don't have an issue with the list. It's different from mine, but I don't have an issue with it. Because I'm pretty sure these are probably historians. People who probably watch most of these people, like, bro, George Mikan, bro, he started basketball. You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, I think he won the second NBA championship. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't got the problem with the list. It's just I never seen George Mikan. You know what I mean? I never watched him.
Right.
He got four rings, 5 rings, something like that. But this I do want to ask you this real quick, since I brought up George Mikan. Should the Lakers be able to keep those championships? He won them in Minnesota.
Yeah.
They shouldn't transfer to LA.
It's the club. What do you mean? the club. It goes with the club. I mean,
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even in Minneapolis, man, they should transfer over.
That's like they saying Minnesota don't got no championships.
No,
they do. They got 5.
They do. But they said nope, not the Timberwolves basketball club.
But yeah, top 5 centers. Oh man.
Who you got?
I struggle. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got Joel Embiid at 5.
Oh my gosh! Wow! That is shocking yet not shocking. Dumb.
Let me ask you this question.
Top 5 of all time.
Let me ask you this question. Have you seen a more skilled center? And don't say Hakeem.
Why can't I? That's what I'm gonna say.
I know you were gonna say it. I know you're gonna say Hakeem. Do Hakeem shoot 3s?
He could. He has.
But does he?
No.
The Hakeem push the ball on the break?
He could.
But does he?
No. Yeah, maybe he has.
So that's why I put him in my top 5. And again, my list's gonna be crazy because most of the people, and I want to preference this and say, I should have said this before I started making my list. most of the people on my list would be people that I've seen. And it's crazy. I asked my wife this when I was making my list. I asked her, I said, babe, just give me a movie that a lot of people say that's great that you've never seen. And then she gave me a movie, and I said, can you say that movie is great if you've never seen it? She said, no, I can't say it's great because I've never seen it. So if I've never seen these players or these people, I can't say that they're great. I can't say that I admire their greatness or respect their greatness to the level that I do with the people that I've seen, if that makes sense.
So, okay, maybe I'm just a basketball nerd. You've never
I'm a basketball nerd too.
And YouTube
a game.
Listen,
I watched.
So you can't say you ain't seen it before.
So let me get my list, and then we'll talk about the controversy in the list.
All right.
So I got Hakeem. I mean, I got Hakeem. I got Joel Embiid. Mm-hmm. I got Dave. Mm-hmm. David Robinson. Mm-hmm. I got Hakeem. Mm-hmm. Shaq. Mm-hmm. Missing somebody. Hakeem. I had Joker at 5. Joker, Embiid, Dave, Hakeem, and Shaq.
No Lou Alcindor, huh? No Kareem.
But this is what I will say. That's why I asked you. That's why I sent you the text before we went on there. But I asked you, did you make your top 5? Because what I was going to say is, let's do top 5 winners. So I made a separate list of a top 5 winner because the whole purpose of me wanting to do this segment was to honor him, to honor Bill.
Right.
I've never seen him play. You know what I mean? And even when you watch his stats, even when you watch his highlights and stuff like that, I don't think that Bill was dominant. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But he just won. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I just said, listen, I'm going to just name I'm just going to do a top 5 winners list. And then I put Dirk, Jordan, Tim, Bill, and Kareem.
How did Dirk get on the list for 1?
Winners?
He won 1.
See, I knew you was gonna say championships. But when we talk about his winning percentage, the way he wins, I got Tim Duncan ahead of Jordan on the top 5 winners list. He won 70% of his games.
You know, Tim Duncan didn't win an NCAA championship, right?
He didn't.
Jordan did.
Yeah, but we talking about he won 70% of his NBA games. I almost put LeBron on there, but he had 2 losing seasons in Cleveland. He had 2 losing seasons in LA.
Shout out to Dirk. He's an all-time winner with 1 chip. So.
Oh my God, we go. Okay, so I'm gonna say if we talk about chips.
Listen, my top 5. I totally understand where Dom is coming from, because it's very hard for us in the millennial era to, like, unless you're a basketball nerd, junkie, however you want to call it, and you're going back and actually watching the games from the 60s, all you can really go off of is the highlights and my man's pictures with all the rings and the honoraries that he gets anytime that he comes in the room with his knowledge and wisdom. The one thing that I credit to Bill Russell is that he was a game changer on and off the court, as he, along with Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, we're fighting for African Americans when we're talking about the rights of athletes and political arena and all of that. So he's big, especially him being one of the first African American coach, him being a player and a coach, especially with the franchise of the Boston Celtics. As if you're a LeBron fan, then you've probably heard LeBron say that the most hated place that he hates to play is Boston, because he feels though that the crowd is racist. And we're talking about in 2022. So just imagine what it was back in his day as the coach. So he will always have my respect in that arena, in that era. But when we're talking about top 5 centers, in my opinion, as far as all time, I'm not going to put them in order because that can be biased. But I'll say, if we're going off just eye test of what I've seen across my eyes, I would say Shaq. Then we got Hakeem. I did see Kareem in his later day, but I seen him. It was the tail end, but I seen him to where I seen him, and then I could go back. If I seen him, I can go back. But if I didn't see him, this is where I'm going with it. So Shaq, Hakeem, Kareem, David, and stat-wise, award-wise, winning-wise, and all that, I would have to say Jokic. Or Moses Malone.
Yeah. Moses got 3 or 4 championship MVPs.
I think he has 3. No. Does he? Moses Malone.
People forget how good Moses is, though.
3-time MVP.
Yep, 3-time MVP, 1-time champion, 1-time champion.
13-time NBA All-Star. So
the only thing, like I said, I think Moses. I was born '86. Moses, they won the ring in '83. After that, it's like, I mean, I really didn't. Like I said, and you go back and you watch the highlights. That's how I know about Moses. I know about Doc. I know about Dr. J. I mean, you watch. Yeah, I mean, Bill Russells. The if you want to talk about who was a stud in his prime before he got injured, Bill Walton. You know what I mean? Wes Unseld. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of greats, you know what I mean, that you're gonna put on your list. But I'm just saying, like, for me, when you look at skill, like, I know people say, well, Will average 8 points. He averaged 8. So what Jokic is doing is not it hasn't not been done by a center. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
and see that one of the reasons why, and see, I totally get your point as far as Embiid, because even looking at it right now, I would say Embiid is better than Jokic. The only reason why I will put Joker ahead in the top 5 is because the man has 2 MVPs.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks that it comes down to that. But just looking at the overall, like, career-wise, it's very similar these past few years when it comes to those two.
Yeah.
When it comes to the playoffs, neither one of them has made it out of second round. Well, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. That was in the bubble.
They never did.
So, not to discount the bubble, but you know that has an asterisk on it. Let's just be real. So, I mean, the thing that puts him above, to me, is that
the 2 rings. I mean, the two MVPs.
The 2 MVPs, and it sucks because the thing is, if Joel had won it this year, I would say Joel, because they both would have won. And I sincerely feel like Joel is a better big, and it's kind of like, in a sense, to where you may have thought in your heart that Jason Kidd was better than Steve Nash, but Steve Nash has 2 MVPs, so he's going to be up there when you're talking about to the NBA players that played against him, with him, and all of that, they're taking Jason Kidd over.
I'm taking Jason Kidd over Steve Nash too. So, but I just think with them two, like with Jokic, you don't see a like Jokic is a big that still like them two are bigs that still control the game. Like they like in the 90s, it was a big man's game, it was a center game. So everything ran through them. Right. Now it's a perimeter game, but you got two unicorns in a perimeter oriented game. Yeah, I mean, so you don't see bigs doing what Jokic and Embiid is doing. And again, Embiid, like footwork, handle, shot, he does it on both sides of the ball. And again, I know Kareem, I know Hakeem, skill wise. Listen, they said Joel Embiid can transform into certain players on any given night. He can be in his Hakeem bag one night. Then he can be in his. And I know people going, this probably is a bad analogy.
Bag.
Huh?
You said Shaq bag?
He definitely can be in his Shaq bag.
Okay. I'm sorry, but go ahead. I thought you were about to say Shaq. Go ahead.
No, I can say this is gonna be a bad analogy, but he can be in his James Harden bag any night.
Okay.
Like he is a big with guard skill set. Like Anthony Davis, the big with the guard skill set. You don't really see that. You didn't really see that in Hakeem. Hakeem was dribbling, was crossing people up from the perimeter, doing step backs.
Not step backs. He definitely fadeaways.
Euro steps?
No, Euro step didn't come till the Europeans came in.
I know, so I'm just saying. And again, I have Hakeem ahead of Joel Embiid on my list.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the skill set that Joel Embiid has, now the only thing that's stopping Joel Embiid from being the greatest center ever is his mindset and his injuries. He doesn't know that he's he doesn't know that he's the best player in the NBA. He doesn't know that he's the most dominant player in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
That's what stops him. You are the Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid doesn't get mean. He doesn't get angry, right? He don't want to dunk on everybody. Like he don't want to kill people. And maybe he does, but I don't see it.
Right.
Hakeem.
There's times where he has moments.
Yeah, when he has moments, but he needs to do that every night. Like when he goes up against a Giannis, or when he goes up against certain people, like you just want to. Giannis, they saying Giannis is the best player in the NBA. I'm gonna go kill him. Like what Shaq would say. You know what I mean? Oh, they saying it's Dave. I'm gonna go give him 60.
Yeah.
Like with Dave said, okay, like what's his name got set? Let's say Bart got 63. All right, I'm gonna go get 70. Like I need that to go get the scoring title. Like
yeah.
That's what I want Joel Embiid to do. Like that they saying when they gave Jokic the MVP, and Joel Embiid thought he was the MVP. Oh, I'm gonna go show them that I'm the MVP.
Right.
So that's why I have him lower, because I don't know if he has that type of dog or that type of mentality. Hakeem, we seen Hakeem win 2 championships when Jordan wasn't there. We seen Dave do his thing. Like we seen these players do their things.
Yeah.
And Jokic just got a different skill set, man. Like he running the point guard as a big man.
Yeah.
He's Jason Kidd. He's Jason Kidd
in a bigger body.
In a bigger body.
No, I definitely like Jokic's skills. I definitely like Joel's skill. I mean, everybody's list, of course, is always debatable. You know what I mean? Everybody has their reasons, positions, basketball, period. But at the end of the day, as long as you can argue your point, as long as you can defend it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I almost
If you
threw
have
Yao
George
Ming on.
Mikan, if you still have Yao Ming on your list, you better be able to validate it. It ain't too many points you got, but you're gonna have to ramble off a few.
You have to say
Whatever.
something. He's 7'6".
Yeah,
China, like
yeah. If he did come in with the jumper, he was extremely good for the first few years that he came in.
Yeah, I think he just got injured. Injuries weren't
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the team really didn't have a lot of success with him, and arguably, like, he was arguably probably the second best center in the league, maybe. And then you had T Mac, who's arguably probably the second best, maybe the first. Some people would have him at the first. I mean, two guard in the league, and because they didn't have a lot of success, that's why you really can't talk about them a lot.
Yeah.
So,
but one person that you didn't have on your list, but I had on mine, was Kareem.
mm-hmm.
And
I had him on my winners list.
Yeah, you had him on the winners list, but you kept him off the top 5 centers list.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, let's transition to the list that he is on top of, and that's the all-time leaders in the regular season. So Kareem is 1, and LeBron James is 2. So I think he only has to average, 17, 18?
Yeah, to have it by the end of the year.
So Dwayne Bermuda asked this question. Is LeBron James a scorer? Now, if you're a person who's a newborn baby coming into this world, and you're able to read the total points in the league of all time, and you see LeBron James as number 2, and he's still playing, and they say, is LeBron James a scorer?
I would say this.
But FYI, Moses Malone is 10th on this list, and the infamous Carmelo Anthony is 9th, FYI.
I'll say this. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. Is LeBron James a scorer? No. Yeah. Dang. This is a tough question. It's a loaded question.
He's at 2.
Yeah, but it's a tough question. It's
ahead of 2 of the greatest scorers in Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
Right. So
and Carmelo Anthony. Just FYI, Carmelo Anthony.
He keeps saying Carmelo. I don't think.
Nice.
So let me ask you this question. This is what I'll say. If I took away LeBron's, let me ask you, what is LeBron's go-to move?
Downhill.
and that spin. He gonna go downhill. He gonna spin.
Now he's got the fadeaway.
Okay. He just added that in LA.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of scorers, I think of people who can beat you in a multitude of ways, efficiently. I think LeBron can only beat you one way. Now it's a great way because nobody's been able to stop it, other than maybe Kawhi Leonard, that some people would say. And he still gave Kawhi like 30. Still gave Iggy like 30. You know what I mean? But anyway, LeBron has just been the biggest, strongest. I don't think there's no real skill to LeBron's game. LeBron's scoring. There's no real skill to LeBron's scoring.
Okay.
So I would say, of course, he's a scorer because he's going to be the all-time leading scorer, right? But is he a pure scorer? He's not. When people start talking about the greatest scorers of all time, even though he is going to be number one, he's not going to be mentioned in the top 10 as the greatest scorers of all time.
So I'm gonna play God's advocate right now. Not devil advocate. I got God's advocate. He has only had one season out of 19 seasons that he's averaged under 25 a game.
And that year he averaged what 10.9 assists a game.
Say that again.
And that year he averaged like 10.9 assists a game. He took a step back to lead the league.
Well, no. That was his rookie year where he only averaged 20.
Who you talking about, Brian?
21. Yeah, LeBron.
Oh, under 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's averaged above 25 a game every season except for his rookie season.
But does that make him a scorer?
Here's my advocacy for him being a scorer. When we're talking about scoring, we're talking about putting the ball in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about how many points you get. And for the 82 or in the past few years, 60, 70 games, you're averaging above 25 points per game. Divide that by 4, and you get 6.5 to 7. Yeah, 6.5 points per quarter. So that's 3 makes and a quarter. If you break it down, all that type of math. Shaq says in order for you to be dominant, you got to score 8. Right? He said that's what his thought process. You get 8 points each quarter. You get 2 layups and a free throw, whatever type of math he had. He was like 8 points each quarter. That's 32. You can get that. LeBron averages at least 6 a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
He is not efficient when it comes to step back, when it comes to pure jumper, when you go hezzy or whatever the case may be. But when you want to put the ball in the bucket, you give it to LeBron, and he's going to get it, whether it be a 3 from 40 feet or going downhill or a fadeaway or a floater or a dunk or getting fouled, going to the free throw line. He puts the ball in the bucket. Pause. That's a plug. But I was looking at that and I thought about it. Of course, I'm thinking like one of the better scorers, greatest scorers in the league, Jordan. Then you think of like the Kevin Durant's, the Carmelo Anthony's. If you want to go further back, the George Gervin's, the Bernard Kings, guys who scored the basketball. You know what I mean? But looking at his stats and looking what he does on a nightly basis, even at the great age of 37?
Mm-hmm.
How old am I? 37? Yeah, 37. Yeah, he's a scorer. Yep. He is a grandoso scorer.
He's a scorer.
And he still does it to this day.
He is.
And man, this season, where is it at?
30.1 or something like that?
Give me 1 second.
Yep, he scored 30.1 points per game.
And that was the second highest. That's the second highest that he's ever averaged. The first was when he was 21 years old. So he's playing at the level of which he was at 21 years old. Looking at these stats, it's actually better, efficiency-wise, and in less minutes.
Less wins too.
Yeah. Was it? It might have been. Well, he played less games, 56, and at 21 he played 79. So, but the percentages is better. Even the 3-point percentage is better. Less free throw attempts. Wow.
His minutes are higher. He got more 3 points.
His minutes is less actually, 37 compared to 42.
You judging back his? You judging when he scored?
Yeah, when he scored 31.4 a game when he was 21. His looks like he had. This is a man that's playing at a level of a 21-year-old LeBron at 37.
No.
Looking at his stats.
Not playing that level.
I know Dwayne said the number is lie, but looking at these numbers, the only thing that he's slightly off of is his assists, and it's still 6.6 compared to 6.2, and steals is 1.6 to 1.3. But other than that, everything else is pretty much the same, if not better. And the thing is, he had more free throw attempts at 21.
That LeBron could carry a team. This LeBron can't.
Okay. But he put out 30 though.
Listen, we always talk about empty calories, empty stats, right? 30 on a team that won 33 games. And we can say, well, LeBron only played 56 of them. Well, in the games that he played, he was 500. I think a little bit less, a little bit under.
But he averaged 30 on him. Like, he can go and say, yo, listen, I was 37 years old playing in my 18th season, 19th season. Was it 19th or 18th? I don't know. Who's counting right now?
19th season.
And I'm out here averaging 30. 30. I could play for the Sacramento Monarchs. I'm out here averaging 30 in an NBA professional basketball season where I played 50-plus games at 37 years old. What do these young boys know about anything? Where I can do this at this. I can have the same stat line that I had when I was 21. Yes, my team may not have been winning 60 games, but I, the king, LeBron James, averaged 30 at 37. So who's going to tell me I'm retiring? That's like Tom Brady winning the chip at 47 years old. Who's going to tell me? I just threw for 4,500 yards. Why am I retiring? How can't you say that I'm not one of the best quarterbacks still in the league? LeBron James just came in and averaged 30 at 37.
I hear you. Then I will ask you this. Is Giannis a scorer?
In the argument that I have, yes. So if I'm taking this spot right now, then yes, he's a scorer.
Okay. All right. I mean, if we want to go with that argument,
I'm on the numbers don't lie train tonight. Okay.
Numbers don't lie. Got you. Is LeBron the better scorer than AI?
No.
So, and again, because I agree with the question, I do think that LeBron is a scorer because he will be the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. He actually, if we're talking about, if we're counting playoffs, he is the all-time leading scorer in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows how to get the ball in the basket. I just think when I'm talking about scores, the pure scores, LeBron got one move.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's just gonna go downhill.
He's very big, very strong, very athletic. That is hard to stop in any type of way. He's very efficient. He does make the right plays. And I mean, he's always been a streaky shooter. But when you going through that lane at that size, you can back anybody down.
You can run anybody
pretty
over.
much do anything that you want. So I mean, it is great that God did bless him with half the shooting ability that Steph Curry had. Otherwise, we might be looking at something illegal.
Man, if he was blessed, I ain't even gonna say with shooting. If he was just blessed with because I don't think LeBron's a great dribbler either.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
If he was just blessed with some ball handling.
Let's see. The Most High knows what he's doing. He's like, yo, I can't give you too much of that. I'll give you all of this to where they call you this freak of nature. But if I give you that and that, nah, they're gonna say I was.
And if you have all that,
on favor.
if you got all that, you get injured.
right. You injury prone. You can't have it both ways.
You can't have all of that. You can't have all of that and have the same career that LeBron had. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, to answer the question, I do think LeBron is a scorer, but I don't think that he is an all-time top 10 scorer of all time. I just think longevity. Even with Kareem, I don't think Kareem is a top 10 scorer of all time either. It's just longevity.
Now, speaking of scores, let me see how I'm going to do this here. Well, I got to move quick. All right, so Kevin Durant. Sorry for the fuzziness. Kevin Durant with the Brooklyn Nets has been rumored for about a week now.
Yep.
To be traded to the Boston Celtics. And here we go again with Kevin Durant wanting to be traded. But not even wanting to be traded, but wanting to go to a team. He said he wants to go to a top team, which in turn has made people question his legacy and all those good stuff and whatnot. So, what's your thoughts on Kevin Durant? Should he stay in Brooklyn?
So I want to say, I want to address the trade part of it first. I'm gonna address it from both sides. I think Boston is dumb for one offering what they offered, but then I also think they're dumb for not accepting Brooklyn's counter. And the reason I say this is because if you're gonna go all in and say we want to go after Kevin Durant,
mm-hmm.
and then you're gonna offer what you offered to get Kevin Durant, and then for Marcus Smart to be the reason that you don't have Kevin Durant, I think that's a dumb theory. That's a dumb logic. That's dumb. You can't explain that to me.
How so? When Marcus Smart is pretty much like the heart and soul of your team.
I don't care who the heart and soul of your team is. Kevin Durant showed up.
So as Boston, you would be willing to give away Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and a rotational player?
Yes.
And picks?
Yes. And I'm going to
tell you what. Who is what? Kevin Durant is 33, 34 years old. And Jaylen Brown is 26. And Jaylen Brown was arguably the best player on your team in the finals. Mm-hmm. And you let him go?
So this is what I'm saying.
With Marcus Smart?
I think it was dumb for them to even entertain the offer. But they did. They're the one that offered it. So I said that was stupid. That's dumb. You just was in the finals with that team. You don't need Kevin Durant. But since you entertained it and you put it out there that you were on this Kevin Durant train, you offered up Jaylen Brown. You're all in now. Don't let Marcus Smart be the reason that you don't get Kevin Durant. especially because you just brought in Malcolm Brogdon. If you give up Marcus Smart, you have Malcolm Brogdon. It's not that much. It's not. It makes it less painful.
But you went to the finals with this team, and now you add on
Malcolm Brogdon.
Malcolm Brogdon. So what? I granted, Kevin Durant is arguably one of the greatest players, not greatest players, one of the best players in the league today, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to give up a nucleus that you built culture-wise in order to get him when you've already went to the finals without him.
But they are. They were willing to give up Jaylen Brown, Derrick Brown.
But you had to put and Marcus Smart. That was too much.
But they offered Jaylen Brown and Derrick White and picks.
Okay.
Brooklyn said, "I want Marcus Smart." If that is the holdup, I'm going to do that. If I'm
Boston, that's too much.
Why? Well, you got Malcolm.
Because okay. So there's already talked about Jaylen Brown and him, how the front office did with Isaiah Thomas, how he felt as though like, okay, this is business, it is what it is. I don't like the culture, whatever. So it may be to where he may want to leave if you don't get nothing for him. So I kind of get the Jaylen Brown aspect, but Marcus Smart is a pivotal part of the reason as to why you went to the finals last year. You're already losing one pivotal part. Now you're losing another pivotal part. No, like you to me, that's giving up too much. Yeah, stat wise on the eye test, yeah, it's just Marcus Smart. You're not gonna. But at the end of the day, what he brings to that team is different. It's kind of like, in a sense, one of the reasons why people will slight the fact that Draymond is asking for a max, but he means that much to the organization to where he feels as though he can ask for the max because of not what he brings to the table stat-wise, but the engine that in the soul and everything that he brings to that culture of that team is one of the reasons why they won championships. And Marcus Smart is that to the Celtics. So giving up that and the young, talented Jaylen Brown, to me, is giving up too much.
To get Kevin Durant, I disagree, man. And honestly, I don't think Marcus Smart is what Draymond Green is to the Celtics on that level. Like, we did just see Steph Curry destroy Marcus Smart. He destroyed Marcus Smart. And Marcus Smart was talking about, I'm his stopper. He destroyed Marcus Smart. Like,
that doesn't take away from the fact that Marcus Smart can pretty much get this team going emotionally when he straps up and locks in and the things that he says and all of that is concerned.
But you don't think that Kevin Durant, Malcolm Brogdon, Jason Tatum, and they got Danilo Gallinari in them? You don't think that they can do that?
That would be an extremely talented team.
So you want to allow Marcus Smart, who I get it, he is a monster. He gets things going. He's an energizer.
Mm-hmm.
Allow an energizer to stop you from possibly. And again, Boston initiated this trade. Boston did. They're the ones that initiated it. So you're gonna let Marcus Smart stop you?
Oh, his name is not coming to my head right now. Who's the GM? I see his face. Brad Stevens.
Yeah, Brad Stevens.
Brad. I don't think Brad wants to do. I don't think he wants to draft.
You don't think he wants to draft?
No. I mean, he's trying to give away all these picks. I don't think that. Has he drafted yet since he's been the GM?
This year. And who did they pick this year?
He did? Okay.
No. This 2020, 2022. He drafted 2022's draft.
But
I don't know. Listen, I can't even remember who the heck they drafted.
I totally understand what you're saying, especially with the team assembled and whatnot. I mean, you're going for one of the greatest players. However, in the same sense,
if I'm Boston,
you
I would
just went to the finals with this team, and now you've added a Brogdon and you've added a Gallinari.
And I agree. So that's what I'm saying. Boston, why did you initiate this trade? You didn't need to. But since you did.
Well, you might as well. I mean, because at the end of the day, the rotational player, the picks, you can get rid of. Jaylen Brown is the major piece of that. He's young, and you're not knowing where his future lies with the team. But then to add another starter.
But can we be real?
Because okay, if you interchange Marcus Smart with Robert Williams, do you think that Stevens would go for that? Probably. I don't think so.
I think, honestly, me personally, I think he is just as vital on defense, just as Marcus Smart.
Right. So if he's not willing to let go of Marcus Smart, he's not willing to let go of Robert Williams. Which in turn, we're talking about a young, kind of unproven guy making his way compared to Marcus Smart, who he just won $6 million a year, right?
No, defensive player of the
year. Yeah.
But since I have Malcolm Brogdon, it makes it easier.
I'm just saying, you just take a defensive player of the year like that? Just let him go? Even though Steph torched him.
In order to get, so let me ask you this question. I will ask this: if it was Steph Curry, they would. You want Marcus Smart? All right, cool. Right?
And Jalen, no, oh, it's a reason why Marcus Smart is not available in this.
Man, they were trying to trade that. They were trying to trade that man the year before, man. Let's not act like they.
But they want to keep him. they said he's where they draw the line. So he has to be a vital part in what Brad Stevens thinks of that organization with him in it.
Listen, I wouldn't have never initiated the trade anyway. I wouldn't have did it.
But I get poking the tires, but now you've created to where the storyline is going to continue until somebody else emerges.
Yeah, I think if you do it, if you're going to go all in like that, if it ain't Jason Tatum, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown would have been off limits to me. But since they added Jaylen Brown, if it ain't Jason Tatum, anybody can go.
Anybody.
If it ain't Jason Tatum, anybody can go. Jason Tatum and man, listen, we think Kyrie and KD next year, if they come back healthy, can win a title. Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice, especially since the East is loading up already. I mean, the Celtics are going to have to do something. I mean, they've done something with Brogdon and Gallinari, in my opinion. And I just be wondering, like, what is it about Gallinari that, like, he keeps going from place to place? Like, he consistently averages 15 to 19 points a game and just gets slighted. Like, I liked him in Denver. I liked him in where else was he? Atlanta.
I liked him with New York. I liked
him in New York. It's just poor. I mean, listen,
in Philly.
Yeah. It's a lot of places that Gallinari has been, and he's been consistent. And it puzzles me.
He's just a solid rotational player.
He really is. He can really give you 15 to 19 off.
What's his name? Who just got rid of him? Atlanta. They had to trade. They had to include him in that deal to make the money match for I can't think of the boy. DeJounte Murray.
Right. And then I think they bought Gallinari up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
he went to where he wanted to go.
Yeah, he went. Yeah, he went to Boston where he wanted to go. So yeah, but yeah, man. Listen, Gallo, he's a solid rotational player, bro. Solid.
Definitely.
He can be a good starter or a good bench player.
So speaking of good starters and solid players, we had a nice solid fight last night. As switching over to boxing, Danny Garcia won a majority decision over Mr. Benavidez. You said you did not tune into the fight, correct?
I didn't watch it last night, but I did go back and watch it today on YouTube.
Shout out to YouTube. Don't say what channel had it, but
but yeah, so I did go back and watch it. Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you ask your question.
I don't even have any question.
Okay.
It's just really, what was your thoughts on the performance?
Danny dominated. Like, listen, I got advanced stats on this joint too. Like, I was digging into this joint. So, like if you watch the first 3 rounds, Benavidez, he was throwing a lot of punches. Like he was throwing a lot of punches.
Mm-hmm.
He was averaging like 55 punches thrown in those first three rounds. Now he wasn't connecting, but he was throwing them. I think those body shots wore him down. Because you saw as the rounds went on, later and later, he started throwing lesser and lesser punches.
Yeah.
Like in the first the first round, he threw 48. Garcia threw 46. Second round, he threw 52. He threw 57. Third round, 47, 46, 60. Then fourth round, 63 and 63. And then after that,
he went downhill.
He started throwing less punches.
Yeah. What's crazy about it is that like Benavidez, this was his second fight at 154. So
second fight at 154.
Yeah, so he's not a natural 154 pounder, but he was the bigger fighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people forget that like Danny Garcia was like an alternate on the Olympic squad. He's won amateur championships and whatnot, so he does know how to box. It's just that coming in, he was knocking a lot of people out, and you didn't really see him actually box. This was like one of the first times that I've actually seen him to where like he was using combinations and it was body to the head, body head. There was movement. There was a lot of feints. And a lot of times when you seen Danny Garcia, it was just like the head movement, just swing, hook, and it was a lot of flat-footedness. And I didn't see that this fight, which kind of shocked me. I really feel like he dominated the fight. I asked my wife last night, I want to know, how do you get into judging boxing? Because the judge who had it 114 was asleep.
I was like, yo, what the was you watching?
Was sleep, Dom. I know I was sleepy watching the fight, but I know what I've seen. And I'm like, yo, like, I guess Benavidez was trying to tell him, like, none of the punches was phasing him. But I'm like, yo, he's scoring points all day, and you're not throwing anything. So, like, what it looks like to the judges and to the crowd is like, okay, you're getting touched, and it may not hurt you. You may show that it's not hurting you, but this is boxing. It's a sport. And, like, at the end of the day, like, if it goes all 12 rounds, there's going to be a decision to make. And what is that decision? If the punches don't hurt you, but yet you got hit 30 times compared to you throwing 10 punches, don't matter if you ain't got a bruise on your face or not. You lost. You know what I mean? Like, my man could be all lumped up from the 30 punches that you threw, and he hit you 100 times. At the end of the day, he's gonna win.
Listen, the judge who scored at 114 is why I was like, man, I got to dig deeper into this, John. That's why I was like, yo, I definitely got to dig deeper because I don't get it. I was like, yo, Danny legit outpunched you every round. He connected more in every round. Then I was like, okay, maybe Benavidez had more power shots. No. My man connected on 52.4% of his power shots. Danny Garcia did. Benavidez connected on 32% of his power shots. Jabs. Go ahead, Brett.
I'm no expert, but I had it 10-2.
Bruh.
I had it 10-2, which, if my math is correctly, 10, that's 110 to, wait a minute.
That'd be 118, 110.
Yep, okay, yep. 118, 110, that sounds about right. Then I'll give you the 117, 111. But 114, 114.
Listen, even the person who had 116, 112, I was like,
yeah, I questioned that too. But I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. But the 114, 114, I was like, nope, somebody paid him.
Every statistic you can think of, Danny won. Every statistic. If we're talking about just pure boxing,
yeah,
he won it. If we're talking about eye test, Danny won it. And then when you go to the advanced numbers, you're like, bruh, Danny won the advanced numbers.
Yeah.
He legit won every round.
Yeah.
Outside of I'm gonna get a little flurry. I think Benavidez had not in the flurry. He just was more active, I think, in one of the rounds.
Mm-hmm. In the later rounds.
Huh?
I said it was like a later round, like maybe the 8th or 9th, something like that.
He had a little
flurry. Other than that,
round 9. He had a little flurry on round 9.
But other than that, it wasn't. The only thing was like the fact that I guess Danny's punches wasn't affecting him. But I mean, I did see a couple times he got the snot knocked out of him.
Are we watching boxers or are we knockout artists? Like, boxing is an art.
Yeah. So I'm impressed. But in the same token, this still doesn't answer the question of how he's actually going to be versus true 154 pounders. I think that this was a great introduction into it, but he's definitely going to have to get his feet wet. I know he wants to fight Lara for the WBA regular championship, but I don't think Charlo just yet. I think that there's,
He didn't mention Charlo, did he?
No, I don't think he mentioned Charlo, and I think that there was a reason for that. I don't know why he even mentioned Lara, because I really think Lara will outbox him. As I've stated before, Lara
outbox the Danny we saw last night, or the Danny we are used to seeing.
I think he outboxed the Danny that we seen last night, because Lara outboxed the mess out of Canelo. So
you think Lara has more knockout power than Danny?
No. Well, 154 is different. because I don't know. And see, the thing is that I really haven't seen Danny to be a knockout artist since 140. So when you're going up to the 154, and I mean, Lara doesn't have much knockout power at that level, but at the same time, like, he's a great Cuban boxer. And
Right.
I think that he's been on the short end of the stick of a lot of decisions. And I think that would be a huge test for him. I think that he should actually fight somebody else before you talking about going up against champions, because you just fought a guy that was literally at 147 before the fight before this. You know what I mean? So, like, I mean, it's good, but like this brother's, I mean, the dude that you just fought, his brother is arguably the hardest puncher at 168, and David Benavidez, and he spars with him. So, like, I didn't see Danny going to knock him out in the first place. If my man get hit by his brother, you know what I mean?
But so that's what I'm saying. So to call out Lara and Keith Thurman, because he called out Keith Thurman too, I don't think that this Danny, if this is who he is now, I don't think that it's a definite that he gets outboxed by Lara. I think that Danny can box with him, and Danny also has shown that he can have that knockout power. Again, even though it was in 140, he can have that knockout power. You know what I mean? So I think that this Danny could have to call out Lara or Keith Thurman. I think it was straight. Now, if you call out a Charlo, if you call out a Spence,
no, and you know what? When he fought Spence, it was a decent fight. Like, it wasn't like he got washed. It, like, on paper he got washed, right? But if you looked at the fight, like, it was a competitive fight. It was just that Danny didn't. He threw a lot of punches, but they weren't very effective. And that's why, like, I'm like, he says, like, that was one of his, he was an off night, and he had, which I totally understand everything that he said that he was going through anxiety and depression and all of that, with it being during the COVID time and all of that. And I really think that this Danny actually beats the brakes off of Keith Thurman. The way that he boxed last night, I think Keith Thurman has taken a step back. I don't know who he's waiting to fight. That's why I'm like, you might as well fight Danny in a rematch, and you might get do a trilogy if you lose. You know what I mean? But at 147, if you fight one of the young guns, you're getting beat. If you fight one of the old heads, you're getting beat. So you're stuck in a rock and a hard place. You might as well fight Danny at a catch weight of like 150 or something, and get a check and see if you can do it again. But I think Lara is he's the champion. He has a belt. And, of course, you're going to call out a champion, but he knows not to call out the champion.
No.
So I really think that the fight that he wants to do next is Thurman. He mentioned Thurman. He's like, I'm going to mention the champion. I'm not going to mention Charlo because I don't want all that ruckus. I'll mention Lara because there's no fuss there. That fight could be made, but realistically, the two fights that could be made the quickest would be Lara or Thurman, because Thurman hasn't fought anybody as of yet. And the way Danny fought last night, he could probably come back in about 3-4 months if he wants to stay active again.
The Charlo fight could happen quick too.
He don't want that. He knows he don't want that. That's why he didn't say that name.
Happen quick. It'll just be quick.
But that's why he said he didn't say those names at that particular moment. He said it before, but in that arena, no. I'm gonna be smart and call out that guy who has a belt, who's the lesser of the champions, if you want to call it that, or I'm gonna call out the guy that I lost to. My 3 losses. One is retired. The other one, I don't know if I can beat, but I really think I can beat the other one. And I'm going to call them out. Let's run it back so I can avenge that loss. And then I have another world champion under my belt as far as beating is concerned. I mean, Danny's in an okay position now, I think, for the foreseeable future. Not for like the long term future, but for the foreseeable future. If he can make any one of those fights happen, I really think that for one, it's a good payday for him. For two, I think that the fight with Lara will be very competitive, to where I'm not going to say it's a 50-50 fight, but I'm not going to say that Lara washes him either. And of course, I really think Keith Thurman, the way that he performed in his last performance was mediocre, and this looked like a rejuvenated Danny Garcia. So I would pick Danny Garcia in that fight. So he's in a good place being at 154 because it doesn't look like he's chasing Charlo as of yet. He's just testing the waters and seeing what it is. And he knows sooner or later that like if he can catch somebody slipping, that he could try to run it back with Spence at 154, and that'll be a nice money grabber, and he could try to avenge his loss that way. But one thing I am seeing about Danny Garcia, man, is that like he's not scared. And not saying none of these fighters are, but like to me, he fought everybody that you could fight in the welterweight division at a time. I think the only person that he has not fought in his line or whatever was Terrence Crawford, and from what I understand, they fought each other before in amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't like he's fought the best of the best. You know what I mean? In his generation, like I'm not gonna say Boots is not in his generation. Devin Haney and all those boys, like they're like right below them as far as like the age wise. I think like Danny's probably like 34 or something like that. So I mean, think Danny's got a great foreseeable future, man, and wish him all the best.
I think he can beat Lara. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He beat Lara. He can beat Lara. He can beat him long term. You know what I mean? Like he ain't got to fight Charlo. He can just beat.
No, I don't think he can fight Charlo. I don't want to see that for him right now.
But I don't even see where Lara his ranking is. I just pulled up the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him in the rankings.
I thought he was a champion. That's what they said last night.
Yeah, they said he was a champion.
There's Landy Lara.
Like the WBC, they got Danny Garcia 5th in there.
Well, see, those rankings they don't update them every day. They get updated like every 3 months. But no, he has the WBA World Middleweight Championship. That's what it says right here.
Yeah, this gotta be an old ranking because they ain't even got my man on here.
Yeah, the WBA the World Super Welterweight. He has that belt.
Anyway, yeah, I think he can be. Yeah, he don't want that smoke with Charlo. Yo, I just pulled on my man Charlo.
Oh, he's suspended by the New York State Athletic Commission. Why is he suspended?
So that's why he's not on there in the rankings.
That could be possible. But his last fight was in May. I gotta look up more in Lara. But go ahead. You said that.
I was thinking about the Charlo. Like, just I wanted to see what they had Lara rankings. Lara ranking that.
Okay.
Then the ranking, they didn't have him on there. And then I was just looking at the Charlo and how he dominating this division. Like, he's dominating this division. Who lost to Tony Harrison?
Mm-hmm. And Tony Harrison was like, he would like to fight Garcia.
He said he want to fight Garcia?
Yeah, because he knows that it's a nice money fight for him. He knows Garcia's a name.
Yeah. But I don't think Tony Harrison The Garcia that we saw, Danny we saw last night. I don't think Tony Harrison can. I think it'll be another Benavidez fight.
No, I think it'll be a little bit better. I'm not going to do Tony Harrison like that.
So you think? So you did?
Not.
Well,
because I think that he'll. It's not going to be 10-2. Because listen, Tony Harrison is a good boxer, and I think he's only lost a couple times, and once to Charlo. So I think that would be a great test for Danny, to be quite honest.
Danny only lost 3 times.
Yeah. And I mean, he lost to Spence, to Porter, and to Thurman, which are all 3 world champions. So that ain't nothing to knock at. But I think that fight would be more competitive than this one. This past one.
Tony Harrison lost it. Willie Nelson, Jarrett Hurd.
Jarrett Hurd is a former world champion.
And Charlo.
Jarrett Hurd is a former world champion. I don't know about Willie Nelson. The only Willie Nelson I know is the hippie.
And listen, and I like Willie Nelson. He's 24. He's 24-2. I mean, not Willie Nelson. Jarrett Hurd, Washington boy.
Yeah, I ain't seen him. But speaking of Washington boy, Gary Antoine Russell had a fight last night with Bartholomew. He got stopped a little early. It was a knockdown, and then the ref seen something in Bartholomew's eyes, and he called the fight. But needless to say, Russell is now 16-0 with 16 KOs at 140. Just quickly, have you seen him fight before?
Russell?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay. He's very good. Come from a line of family of champions. All of them from an older brother called Mr. Gary Russell, Gary Antoine, and Gary. I don't know. They're all named Gary, but their father just passed away. So definitely condolences to the Russell family as well. But he's definitely somebody that's up and coming that needs to be watched. I mean, 16 KOs, no losses at 140. That knows all about Mr. Tank Davis. That would definitely sell out MGM National Harbor. That would definitely sell out any arena in the DMV area, whether it be the younger Russell or the older Russell. I would love to see that. But yeah.
Since I pulled him up, I think since I pulled him up, I think I have seen him fight.
Mm-hmm. He's very good.
Devin Haney.
He's very good.
Devin Haney, listen, you got me out here talking boxing. Devin Haney a problem too, bro. God damn.
Listen, we're gonna talk about Devin Haney next week. Final thoughts. For this evening.
My final thoughts will be based off of what Danny said last night. Depression, anxiety. Anybody who's struggling with it, man, just don't hold it. You know what I mean? Don't keep it to yourself. The best way to beat depression or anxiety or any mental illness is to talk about it. Allow people in. You know what I mean? Those illnesses are meant to keep you prisoner to where you are locked in by yourself. The best way to beat any mental illness, or one of the ways to beat any mental illness, is to share, open up, and talk about it. They're meant to keep you in a dark place. If you allow people in, you can allow others to be your light. That's my last final thought for the night.
Dami Lama talking. I respect that man. My final thoughts is on the heels of I just had it and then it just dissipated. So I gotta grab another one off the top. Kyler Murray. Off the heels of Kyler Murray and his contract with the Cardinals and how he's quote unquote being portrayed and all of that. At the end of the day, whatever you're passionate about, whatever you are engaged in, do it to the best of your ability. And nobody will have anything to say, regardless, because you put your best foot forward. If you lose, or whatever the case may be, you know you put your best foot forward. Saying that about him as far as like not looking at the film and whatnot, or possibly not looking at the film and whatnot, he knows what he does at the end of the day, and I feel like he's satisfied with his efforts and how he does things and how he prepares. If us as a culture take that into consideration, not necessarily being lookers of other people and what they got going on, but focusing on what you have to do each and every day to be the better version of yourself in your craft and whatever you're doing, the sky is the limit. So that's my final thought for today. We definitely miss Dwayne being behind these wheels. I done tried to put some different parts to it, and I don't know if I messed things up or not. I was trying to be a little too fancy, but these controllers, you might be too much. No, I'm joking. But we definitely miss you, Ben. Definitely, hopefully you'll be back next week. But until then, we definitely want you to like, subscribe, comment on anything. You got anything to plug before we?
Yeah. So 2 things. Love Walk. Again, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We're gonna be putting out a lot more content. And again, we do premarital counseling, marriage counseling. We got a couple of things that we got in the works that we're gonna roll out to y'all. But also on the heels of what I talked about with Danny Garcia, in the anxiety and depression, speak on it. We'll be doing an annual kickball event to bring more awareness to depression and anxiety, especially in Delaware, because I don't think it's talked about a lot. It is, I think, ranked number 8th in all states. Depression and anxiety is ranked number 8th of suicide.
Ain't nothing to do here.
Huh?
I said, because it ain't nothing to do here.
Ranked number 8th in suicides, depression and anxiety in Delaware. So we got to bring awareness to it. We got to learn how to beat this thing together. So Speak On It want to do their part. Just raise money to bring awareness to it and just have a good time by doing it. So we're going to have a kickball tournament, annual kickball game, just to bring more awareness to that. So we're going to start rolling that out sometime soon.
All right, that's good to hear. Good to hear. So until next time, peace. Speak On It. I do in broadcast.